Let me redraw the priorities. The big question from the people's point of view in the Middle East is if Saudi-Qatari crisis will end or weaken the Islamist terrorism in the region. I think yes, for many reasons that have already started to exist even before the eruption of this crisis. First, no doubt that the new Qatari position will force Qatar to be at least more cautious in financing extremist movements and force the Saudis to try to disconnect or review their activities where they have common policy with Qatar, like in Syria. The post-ISIS era will help in this direction. However, this crisis will forego the Qatari role as we knew in the last 20 years. This Qatari phenomena will change. Second, Egypt, who is suffering a lot from armed extremism, will have to profit from this new situation. Third, strategically, the Saudi new leadership, endorsed by President Trump, will intend gradually to engage in a policy that gives priority again to the status quo after 6 years of being involved in regime change. This regime change struggle in the region. We should not forget that Qatar and the Emirates were generally partners in this regime change policy, and their disputes were under this framework, not outside it. Still, this is an important but partial crisis. What counts more is what President Trump will do with Iran. This factor will determine the whole situation. Al Jazeera is only a result. I don't think the recent Emir of Qatar will close it. He is more willing to change its propaganda, but on the long run. As a journalist, I don't like that any newspaper or TV or radio station will be closed in the Middle East, from Turkey to Qatar, via Beirut to Riyadh and Cairo. Diversity is always better than one uniform. Even though in our region, diversity doesn't mean always democracy. Of course, the GCC interrelation will be repaired. This political family cannot afford for a long time a permanent break. GCC is a strong part of economic and political system in our region. They can change rulers, but cannot change the regime, nor can they establish complete break with each other. What is going on is an act of taming Qatar. But do not forget, we should not forget, that the Qatari phenomena didn't exist without a kind of American acceptance. This acceptance looks expired now. Somebody could say that this crisis is a proof that the structural crisis that has hit the Arab world is in the last 6 years reached now a region which was safe before, the Gulf states. I think it is very early to have this conclusion. If I want to summarize, I can say for the first question, is Qatar capable of resisting Saudi and Arab pressure indefinitely? No. Is the future of Al Jazeera negotiable for Qatar? Yes. Can the break in the Gulf Cooperation Council ever be repaired? Yes.